This evening, we will be starting in a seated posture. And you can use a block if you wish. It's not compulsory, but it does make life a little easier. So I'm just going to fold the heels in towards the groin. This posture is called Sukhasana, in case you've never heard of it. So the idea is to try and open the groins out a little bit. If you need to cross the ankles, you can, that's fine. You sit up nice and tall. The benefit of sitting on the block, tilting the pelvis forwards, is that you can get the shins down on the ground if you can get the knees out wide enough. And the spine can be nice and long. Just going to let the shoulders open out a little bit. That neck a little bit of a stretch as I'm letting the breath slow down. And that can be terribly exciting coming into a Friday night core yoga class. We do our best to kind of calm ourselves down and keep it. To that end, we'll take a spinal twist, or just turn that towards the left side, go over the rear shoulder. Again, let the chest lift. See if we can get some space into that lower back as the chest lifts up. Come back into the center as we exhale, and just take it very easily and gently into the opposite side. So again, just taking a little time to wriggle around and maneuver through the spine and shuffle the shoulders. Just find that perfect place where you can feel that you're getting a little bit of a twist without any stress. Still able to keep the legs as low as possible. And we'll come back into the center again. We'll start to take the arms out to the side as we inhale. Bring the shoulders up a little bit. Just bring the hands above the shoulders. Exhale them out. And notice how much lifting takes place in the chest bone. If it's a lot, then your shoulders are tight. If it's a little, then you're in a pretty good place. The idea of this is to just warm these up gently. And following our breath. Taking a little bit of concentration into trying to lift the hands at the same speed, rather than just letting the arms come up. Allow yourself to take your perspective right down to the fingertips and notice where they are through space and time as they lift. Last time coming down, we're going to untangle the legs, just take them out in front, and a little shake out. Crossing the ankles, bring them back in, and then roll over the ankles, so hands and knees. Just move my block out to the side a little bit. Come up onto the paws in front of the mat. I'm going to take the feet together, knees wide. Allow myself to sit back. Just going to stretch out the hands a little bit by bringing them underneath the shoulders and letting the body weight kind of bury down into them. Also doing this, draw the abdominal muscles in really low and deep. And I'll turn the fingers to the sides, thumbs forwards. Just relax those shoulders back again, but also let the weight sink down through themselves, maximizing the stretch into the tendons in the hand. That just helps us when we come to doing the planks and half planks and up dogs, etc. Just want to stretch those fingers out before we get too carried away. We'll turn the hands very lightly all the way around, so the thumbs are pointing out, heel of the hand flat to the floor. It's up to you how far forward you take those hands, but you do want the heel of the hand to stay on the ground. So some of us are going to have more space in the ankle bones and the wrist bones, not necessarily both in the same body, but everybody's different. And so we can see this quite often in this pose, for some people being able to take the hands a lot further forward than others. Take a little breath from there and let ourselves lift our bottoms up. bring the fingers forwards, and we'll bring the knees back underneath the hips and tuck the toes underneath and sit back down onto the heels. So you want to have, if you're able to, walk yourself back up if you can, you want to have the sort of the foot pointing directly up towards the sky, so the heel's pointing up rather than rolling out to the side. You're stretching into those feet nicely. Now again, I do appreciate the feet shape is different as well. Some people are a bit more blocky, some people are tapered in. So that makes a difference to where your heels end up underneath, but we try and keep it even. Take a little breath from there and come back down onto all fours. And we'll lift up onto fingertips, tucking the toes. I'll take some cat-cow. Allow myself to keep the spine rolling up towards the sky. Whilst the fingertips stay on the ground. Chest coming forwards, rolling through. Just getting a little bit of a different position for the roll in the spine to when the hands are on the floor. Let the hands come back down to the ground. I'm just going to sit right back onto the heels, lay the body on top of the thighs, head to the ground, hands towards the toes, to child's pose. I'm going to try and deliberately breathe into the diaphragm and feel the ribs stretch in the back, underneath the shoulders. Since there's very little space for them to move into down below. Try and relax the shoulders out, noticing if there's any tension there. Slowly bring the hands forwards, front and back again. Take a little breath, lift up onto all fours. And draw the belly in and press the spine away from the floor a little bit, but it's not rounded and still trying to keep it neutral. Tucking the toes of the right foot underneath and I lengthen the leg out. Press down through the left shin, allow yourself to lift that right leg just about the height of your hip. And bend the knee, flex the foot so the toes come towards the knee. And then we'll draw the knee in, brush it along the floor, and see if we can get the knee and nose to touch. And then take it back. Draw it in again. And trying to wobble around as little as possible, keeping that bend in the knee as close to 90 degrees as we can imagine. Keep the belly drawn in a little bit when we're in the neutral phase, the leg back. Bring the knee down. So the toe on the opposite side, so we're shifting the weight through the body. Lifting the left leg as we bend the knee. Start to bring that through. And noticing how your body acts on each side. Is it easier to get close on one side more than the other? Or is it pretty even? Let's see more. So round in the spine as the knee comes in. Squeeze it in. Knee to the floor, tuck the toes underneath. Let the knees gently lift away from the ground into down dog. First one of the evening is always walkies. So allowing yourself to just step that out. A little movement into the hips, whatever feels right for you. Nothing wrong with staying still in down dog if that feels like it's the best thing for you this evening. If you are moving around, remember it's slow and gentle, progressive stretching. Bringing ourselves into plank and bring the knees down to the floor. Spin on the knees, legs out to the side, wide. Allow yourself to bring your hands in towards your heart. Roll out to one side, take it forwards, roll it out to the other side, and roll it back. And try and keep the spine long. Press the back of the calves, back of the thighs, and the heels into the floor, and toes up towards the sky. A little spread as well. Just easing your way around. We'll take it a couple of times in the opposite direction. Press at the elbows, keeping them high and relaxed in the shoulders, and stretching out into this, and deliberately keeping it quite close into the body. A little easier on the back, just allows it to warm up a bit more. We'll come back into the center and just take the hands underneath the legs, cross those ankles, roll back over onto all fours. Take a little breath from there, and then let the feet tuck under, and we're into down dog. We're going to walk the feet in towards the front of the mat, a few steps, quite big. Feet landing parallel and hip distance apart, hands onto the hips, soft knees and a flat back, and we'll lift up. We'll take the hands out, above the shoulders, bring them in towards the heart. Hinge at the hips, slow and low, folding down, fingertips to the ground, draw in that belly onto the thighs, hands onto the hips again, soften the knees, flat back. Hands above the shoulders, palms facing it, and then in towards the heart. Shifting the weight a little into the toes, folding down. Hands onto those hips again, we lift up. Come high, hands together this time. Straight through the heart, down to the floor. If you arrive, fingertips on the ground, zigzag your toes together so the big toe touches, and there's a little bit of a gap for the ankle bones. Allow yourself to soften your knees over your toes. Lengthen your body forwards. You're really resting your torso against your thighs. Allow yourself to take your hands out in line with your torso. Draw the belly in. Come back about halfway into chair pose. Squeezing the thighs gently together. Spine is long, belly's drawn in just a little. Tailbone tucked down and under. Just allow the armpits to turn down towards the floor, palms facing a little more towards the sky. Last breath in. We'll slowly drive through the legs and let ourselves lift, hands into the heart. Taking the breath, closing the eyes. Noticing how we feel on the two legs, feet together. Spreading the toes. Just keeping our connection to the floor. Now understanding where our head is, heart, hips, knees and feet. I'm going to take the feet out parallel again and hip distance apart. So open the eyes, hinge down towards the floor. Taking right foot back into a deep lunge. Fingertips pressing out through the back heel to a straight leg. Bring the hands to the floor and step back into down dog. And forwards into plank. Take half plank as I push forwards on the tippy toes, keeping the hips high. Bend the elbows in towards the ribs, turn the bootlaces down, strong legs lengthening away. Roll the shoulders back, and then roll over the toes or step them back into down dog. Again, we're trying to keep the hands flat to the floor. Press the heels towards the back of the mat. Lift the hips high. Draw the belly in. Take one more breath here. Use that exhale to draw the right knee in towards the chest. And bring the foot through into the lunge. Dropping the hip low, but pressing out through the back heel. Taking a breath, pushing off the toes into a slow forward fold. Bring the hands onto the hips, soften the knees and lengthen the chest forwards and let ourselves lift. Take the hands high, palms together through the heart. Simply going to take that over to the left side. Turning down to the floor. Taking a breath, left foot back, deep and long. Fingertips, so the legs are doing the work. Shoulders are relaxed back. Pressing out through the heel. Taking a little breath, allowing ourselves to step back into down dog. Move forwards into plank, half plank, to up dog, to down dog. And just wrapping the armpits down towards the floor a little. Getting that nice strong down dog position imprinted into our bodies. We'll draw the left knee in towards the chest. Bring the foot through as we exhale. Take a breath, press out the back toes into a forward fold. Hands come onto the hips and we lift up. Hands come high towards the heart. We exhale down. Taking a breath, right foot back into lunge, drop the heel in center immediately. Hands alongside the body as you lift up to come up into warrior two, just cartwheel and open. Bring the hands back in towards your heart, rotate down to the floor. Step it back into your down dog. And forwards into plank, half plank to up dog. Exhale down dog. Right leg scissor, knee into the chest, foot through for the lunge. Fingertips, drop the hips, strong back leg, push off the toes, into that fold. Hands under the hips, hands come high. In towards the heart, down to the floor. Take a step back, left foot. Drop the heel in, hands alongside the body. Left arm cartwheels us up. Hands come into the heart and down to the floor. Step it back to down dog. Scissoring the left leg. Allow ourselves to, no, we don't want to do that. We want to come into a plank, half plank. I got carried away there, apologies. Take a little breath. Inhale up to up dog. Back into down dog. The same, we'll scissor the left leg. Draw the knee in towards the chest and bring the foot through. Take a little breath there and push off the toes into the forward fold. Hands onto the hips and let ourselves lift up. So an excellent example of what happens when your focus just drops away a little. Hands in towards your heart. And exhale back down to the floor. Taking a breath. Taking the right foot to the back of the mat. Let the back knee down onto the floor and just sweep the hands alongside the body. As you start to lift your chest a little, take the hands forwards, palms in, let your eyes walk up the wall, across the ceiling, to a little back bend. Bring the hands back down to the floor. Fingertips, lift the back knee. Drop the back heel in, hands alongside the body to open up into your warrior two. Hands into the heart, rotate back down to the floor. Step back into down dog and forwards into plank. Half plank to up dog. To down dog. Scissor the right leg high. Knee into the chest and foot through. Fingertip lunge, push off the toes into the fold. Hands onto the hips and lift high. Hands rise above the head, palms together into the heart, down to the floor. Left leg goes back into the lunge. Drop the back knee. Hands come alongside the body. Lift forwards and up. Exhale, draw the belly in. Float into that back bend. Feel the front thigh on the bottom leg, stretching out as you do. Fingertips to the floor. Warrior two again. Hands alongside. We open up. Hands into the heart. Framing the front foot. Stepping back to down dog. Coming forwards. Plank to half. To up dog. To down dog. Scissoring the left leg. Knee into the chest and foot through. Breath on the fingertips. Push off the back toes. Front of the mat, folding deep. Hands to the hips. Lift. Hands come high. Into the heart. Exhale to the floor. Right leg back, dropping the heel in. Warrior two. Hands alongside the body. Right arm lifts. Hands into the heart. Exhale down to the floor. Scissor it back to down dog. Draw the right knee in towards your chest. Take the right foot to the outside of the right hand. Keep the back knee lifted as you then take your right hand away from the floor and lift up into a twist. Take the hand all the way back to the base of your spine to open your chest. Lift the hand. Bring yourself back. Step it back into your down dog. And forwards into plank to half plank. To up dog as you change the boots. Down to your down dog. Scissoring the right leg. Knee into the chest. Foot through. Fingertip lunge. Push off the toes. And fold forwards. Second side. Hands come high. Into the heart. Exhaling down to the floor. Left leg back, we drop the heel in. Warrior two. We lift. Hands into the heart. Frame the front foot. We step back to down dog. Draw the left knee in. Take the foot to the outside left hand. Left hand comes forwards. We rotate. Keep the back knee lifted and straight. Hand onto the back of the pelvis as we open up the chest to the sky. Inhale the hand up and over. Allow yourself to step back to down dog. Come forwards into your plank. Half plank. To up dog. Roll it back gently into your down dog. Left leg scissors. Knee into the chest. Foot comes through. Take a little breath. Press forwards into the fold. Hands come onto the hips. We'll lift up. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. Exhale down to the floor. This time we're taking the right foot back, dropping the back knee. And take the left hand up towards the sky and draw the right heel in towards your buttock as you see if you can collect it with your hand and draw the heel in towards your butt. And you're trying to keep the front foot parallel and pressing down. As your knee rolls out, there's a tendency to roll into the side of the foot. So press the big toe joint of the front foot down into the floor as you come into this twist. Take a breath and release to all that time to tell you what to do. Come up onto the fingertips, take a little breath, and we'll step into that forward bend. Let's come onto the hips, soft knees, and we'll lift, and we'll take the second side. A little less description next time. As we come all the way down to the floor, take a breath, left foot back. Drop the knee down. Settle. Right arm lifts. Squeeze the heel in, gather. Work on the front leg. Release. Float the arm down. Take a breath as we lift the back knee. Step into the front of the mat. Folding deep. We'll hang here for a moment. Just allow the hands to get as close to the floor as you can. Legs as straight as you want them to be. Pressing the feet into the floor. And hips high. Bring the hands onto the hips, soften the knees. Let ourselves lift. Hands come high and towards the heart. We're going to take mountain pose. Just let the hands come down by the side of the body, palms facing forwards, and close the eyes a little bit. Hands, feet to spread. A little bit of a bend into the back of the knees. Draw the tailbone down, the belly in. Just a moment to gather ourselves back up. After a flowing sequence. And bring the hands in towards the heart as we open the eyes. We'll hinge down to the floor once more. As you arrive, we'll step back. Bring the knees down to the ground. Straight back into our tabletop. We'll take a little breath from there. We'll tuck the toes of the right foot underneath and slide the leg back as far as we can. We're going to take a little breath and then press down through the opposite shin to lift that leg and keep the hips as square as we can. We'll take the left hand away from the floor so that right leg is lifted. And bend the right knee and take the left hand towards the outside edge of the mat. We're going to open the chest and see if we can look around and find our foot. And then this time we press the shin away. Try and keep the knee lifted to the height of the hip. Turn the chest to the long side of the mat as much as you can. Pressing down through the bottom arm into the hand, strong. Belly's drawn in. Last breath, release. And take everything back down to the floor. We're going to take it to the opposite side. So just sliding the foot back. Press down through the right shin to lift the leg. Take the right hand out. Keep ourselves square and sorted. The hand goes out as the knee bends. And hopefully, as we follow the hand round with our eyes, we can see a foot. And then we press. Let ourselves open up just that little bit more. Release. Bring everything down. Knees to the floor, we sit onto the heels. Sitting the body upright, we'll take the hands high, interlace the hands, index finger points up. We'll lift the shoulders up around the ears, send the tailbone down, draw the belly in, and then let ourselves hinge forwards. Remember, you can always bring the hands into the heart to adapt if you need. Head comes to the ground. When we see the hands, we slide back through a rounded back into sitting. Inhale and high. Exhale, slow and low. Try and keep the heels and the buttocks connected. Regulating the speed that we come down. And let gravity hopefully sort the rest out. Come around for the last round of lifting and dropping. And this time as we come down to the floor, once the hands arrive, we'll just bring the hands about shoulder distance apart onto the front of the mat. So let's look up at our hands and bring ourselves back, shoulders over the wrists. Slide the left and the right leg out into a plank. And then let ourselves lift into down dog. I'm going to draw the right knee into the chest, come forwards into plank and tap the back of the elbow on the right side. Come back into down dog and extend the leg up into a scissor. And then hinging at the hips, straight leg comes down. Left leg, and allow that to draw in. The outside of the tricep, back of the elbow. Extend the leg up in down dog, scissor, bring the foot down. Right knee into the chest, coming forwards, tap. Back into dog, extend it out and up. Bring the foot down. Send again to the other side, knee to chest, come forwards, tap. Ease our way back. Extend out. One more to each side. Right knee comes in. We tap. Float back. Scissor. And hinge the foot to the floor. Left leg comes in. Forwards. Back. Scissor. And foot to the floor. We'll lift up onto the tippy toes and just take some little steps, a few inches at a time, keeping the feet hip distance apart, legs straight. We come slowly forwards, taking more weight into the wrists and the shoulders. Feet come flat to the floor. And eventually, we waddle all the way to the very front of the mat. Bring your hands onto the hips as we take a breath and let ourselves lift. Bring the hands in towards the heart as we breathe in. Going to soften the knees over the toes. Going to lean into the right leg and start to slide the left foot back into a lunge. And you're going to let the fingertips go forwards. Roll into the front leg and lift the back foot away from the floor into warrior three, just resting on the fingertips and the hips nice and square. Lift the chest away from the floor. As little weight in those fingertips as possible. You can get down to 2 fingertips or 1 fingertip, you're in the right direction. And take a little breath from there. We'll soften the front knee and let it go back into the lunge. And then we'll drop the heel in, ready for warrior 2. Sweep the arms alongside the body. Left arm can lift us up. We're going to take a breath and extend out over the front thigh to extended side angle. First of all, take the top arm up towards the sky and turn the palm forwards gently. From that out towards the front of the mat. Come back into our warrior 2. Turn the palm of the front hand as we wrap the rear hand around towards the front thigh. Float the arm over towards the back of the mat, top and high. Come back into warrior 2, looking through the middle finger. Allow ourselves to straighten the front leg. We'll drop into that hip. Allow ourselves to lengthen out into triangle pose. The top hand high. And take a little breath from there. Allow ourselves to soften the front knee again. Come back into warrior 2. Float the arms high and bring them onto the inside of this front leg. Down to the floor. We're going to take a little breath from there. And allow ourselves to walk the fingers around to the long side of the mat, turning the toes in. So hopefully this is a nice wide stance. We'll first of all be on the fingertips and lift the chest up as far as we can. Press the feet squarely into the ground so you can feel the inner edge of your foot as well as the outer edge. Have a little play around, make sure you're happy with where your ankles are. Draw the belly in and lift the tailbone a little to the sky. You can take a breath from here. Allow yourself to fold at the hips and hinge down towards the floor. And we'll lift slowly back up. Come right up onto those fingertips. And gently hinge back down again. We'll lift. And then this time we're going to walk the fingers around to the back leg and see if we can take hold of that ankle shin with both hands and draw the chest a little closer towards that knee, elbows out wide. Release the hands, walk them around gently back into the center. Take a breath. Walk them gently around to that foot, which is close to what used to be the front of your mat. Again, see if you can draw your chest, heart towards that knee, elbows out wide. And we'll bring the hands back into the center. We'll lift up on the last time onto the fingertips. Hinge down again. Lift up as you breathe in. Walk your fingers as you turn your toes towards this front of the mat, back into lunge. Take a breath, push off the toes of the back foot. Move into a fold. A little time to position the feet. Bring hands onto the hips, soften the knees, and let ourselves lift up. Hands towards the heart. Take a softening into the knees and load into the left foot. Allow yourself to slide the right foot back into the lunge. And take a breath. Fingers to come forwards. The back foot to warrior three. Soften the front knee again. Drop the foot back into the lunge. Drop the heel in. Bring the hands alongside the body. And slowly lift up into our warrior two. As we arrive, we'll lengthen out, drop into that front hip a little bit. Forearm down, just pressing into the groins. Top arm lifts. Turn the palm and extend it out and over. We'll float carefully back up into our warrior two and turn the palm on the front hand. Slide the back hand around the back towards that front leg. Stretch out towards the back of the mat. Keep the back leg active, pressing down. Come back in to warrior two. Straightening the front leg. Drop into the front hip. Extend out into our triangle. Arm lifts. We open the chest alongside of the mat. Both feet pressing down. Feeling the thighs lift. Probably feeling the calves and the shins lifting as well. A sense of work along this side of the body, drawing you out of the pelvis and holding you up. We'll soften the front knee. Come back into our warrior two, float the arms high. Bring those hands down again onto the inside of this front foot. Slide the fingers around to the long side of the mat. Turn the toes in again, heels out. Have a little play, get comfortable in the hips. And then lift up onto the fingertips. Squarely pressing the feet into the floor, lifting the tailbone high and spine long. The head follows that line. We hinge at the hips and let ourselves come down as low as we can. On the inhale, we lift back up. We come right up onto the fingertips. We exhale down again. We come up again. Then we walk those fingers around to that back foot. See if we can draw the chest towards that knee, that thigh, square in the chest. The elbows go wide, the shoulders are broad, away from the ears. Both feet still working, pressing down. We'll release those fingers round again. Right up onto the fingertips. Take ourselves around to the other side. So moving into the front leg. Back into the center. Lifting up onto those fingertips again. Exhale down. Inhale up. Fingers around to the front end of the mat, coming into a lunge. Take a breath. And step into that forward bend. Hands onto the hips. Let ourselves lift. So hands high. In towards the heart. Hinge over those legs, which are getting a little tired now, down to the floor. And step back, right foot. Then we'll step back into down dog. We'll take a little breath from there. This is the right leg. Draw the knee in towards the chest. Take the foot to the outside of that front right hand. Take the right hand up, taking that twist again, and comes onto the base of the spine, lifts up, strong back leg pressing in. We bring the hands back. This time we step back into plank. Take the feet over towards the left side, lifting the hips high, the right hand up. And draw the hand down and under and just tap to the outside of that left part of the mat. Tap under. We do rock around a little bit on the feet, so for me, my top leg foot is flat to the floor. On the side edge, the other leg, using that to lift up. We're going to come around for the last time. So the arm down towards the floor, back into plank. Lift into down dog. Soften the knees, look towards the front of the mat. So walk, a step, or a hop to the front of the mat. Hands onto the hips, and lift up. Inhale high, hands into the heart. Exhale down to the floor. Left leg goes back into the lunge. Take a breath, you step back into down dog. Scissor the left leg, pull the knee in towards the chest, take that to the outside left hand. Left hand comes up, take a twist again, bring the hand all the way onto the back of the pelvis, keeping the back leg strong, pressing out through the heel. We lift up, bring it back, hands to the floor, step it back into plank, take it to the right. Find our balance, left hand comes up, Then rolls under, taps the right, lift up, down, lift it up, roll it under, lift it up, roll it under, lift it up, roll it under, lift it up, and bring it to the floor. Back into regular plank, into down dog. Again, your choice. Looking to the front of the mat, step, lunge, or hop. So your forward fold. Hands come onto the hips, lift up. Now high, hands into the heart. Exhale down to the floor. Take a little breath, we'll bend the knees, lift the heels away from the ground and squat down at the front of the mat. And we'll take the hands gently behind so we can come down with a little bit of grace onto our bottoms. And we're going to have our trusty block by the side as well. We'll take a little breath, let the hands come along behind us, knees high, chin in towards the chest. Roll the spine gently down to the floor and carefully release the head into the ground. You want to just wriggle around and make sure you're happy where your trousers are and your lower back into the ground and everything feels comfortable and groovy. And then when you're ready and you've got nearly nice long neck, you'll draw your knees in towards your chest. Squeeze the thighs together, point the toes, and carefully extend your toes up towards the sky. Hopefully 90 degrees to your body, keeping the belly drawn in and the lower back to the floor. And we'll take the hands up above the chest, palms facing with the fingers stretched a little bit, where we'll take out alternating legs and arm sequence. So we drop the right arm and left leg, and we lengthen out to keep the spine flat to the ground. And the legs charged and our arm muscles working as well. We bring ourselves back. Inhale and exhale. Or exhale and inhale the other way around. Whatever works for you, as long as your legs are going down, your arms are going down, you're either breathing in or breathing out. And try not to really stop the movement, keeping it to a minimum. And we're keeping the breath flowing as well, and the legs long. Our best to avoid bouncing onto the floor. Obviously, the faster we move, the higher the risk is that they'll just bump into the ground by accident. Come back up to the top. Just bend those knees in towards the body and release the arms down. And as we do, we'll take hold of our block. You're probably wondering what manner of joy have we got lined up for now. Well, we're going to take the block and we're going to put it onto the soles of our feet. Now, obviously, with the knees in towards the body, that wouldn't stay there very long. So we're going to take a little breath, squeeze the thighs together, lengthen the legs up towards the sky. This time we're going to flex the toes towards us. And allow ourselves to take the block up towards the sky in between the palms. Draw the belly down towards the floor and the back into the ground. And we'll slowly, as we exhale, let the block move towards the back of the mat till it touches the floor. Inhale and bring hands back up. And as we do, we'll draw the chin towards the chest and we'll start to lift the chest up. And then we'll see if we can get up into the fingertips and see if we can just lay that block on top of the feet. Keeping the block on top of the feet, we let the spine come back down to the floor. We'll take the hands behind us. We'll take a breath in. We exhale the hands back up. We inhale, chin in towards the chest, and we lift back up. And we see if we can reach the block again, keeping the legs as straight as we can. When the spine flat to the floor, the legs stay high, and the block goes back to touch the ground behind us. Comes back up again. Chin comes in towards the chest. The legs come a little closer as we lift. Place that block on top of that feet. Now, obviously, if you've got long legs and short arms, you're going to need to bend the legs a little bit. Or you need a massive amount of flexibility and mobility in the spine. So work with what you have. Legs are starting to shake on my body. I'm sure what's happening to you guys. Chin towards the chest, last little lift. Oh, it seems to have got further away. Oh, there we are, managed it. Whew. We take the block all the way back. And I'm going to take the arms out wide, swing around the back of the thighs, and help draw my knees in towards my chest because my legs are shut to pieces. Whew. Those hip flexors have had enough. Let the feet come to the floor, close to the body. Take the arms out wide, palms facing up, and hands are in line with the shoulders and the chest. We're going to let the legs roll over gently towards our right side. Let ourselves rest down. And you can take your right hand and just place it on top of the thigh of the right leg if that helps draw you down and it feels comfortable. But we do want to try and keep those shoulders on the ground and the neck relaxed. Take a few breaths here just to get over the excitement of trying to place a block on top of your feet. Slowly release that hand out if you were using it. Exhale the legs back up. And across to the opposite side. See how that feels. Lift those legs again, back into the center. Take the feet as wide as the hips, toes in a little, heels out, hands alongside the body, palms facing down, ready for bridge. Wriggle the spine out a little bit, get some length, and hands in close to the body. And then as an exhale, tuck the tailbone down, tuck the tailbone round away from the floor, lift the hips up gently. See if I can press the knees forwards a little bit. Press the back of the arms into the floor a little bit. Chin towards the chest a little bit. Slowly bring the feet back down to the floor. Sorry, the bottom. Got a little email buzz in my ear just as I was talking and it distracted me. Apologies for that. Take a little breath from here and very gently let the knees come in towards your body. Just leaving the hands on top of the knees, keep that spine super flat. Let the bridge pose unravel itself from our body. And then we're going to start to circle the knees, taking the left, and the right, right. We're going a tiny little bit of movement through the pelvis as well. And just opening out the hips. Let's see if we can take them the opposite way. Just a few times. So I'm keeping these deliberately slow and soft, trying to encourage my breath to slow as well. Let's see if I can take one knee in one direction and one knee in the other just for fun. Working across that SI joint a little bit as well at the same time. If you've got the hang of that, why not go the opposite way? Bring the knees back into the center. I'll slowly let the feet come to the floor. Hands out to the side, slide the heels off to the corner edges of the mat. Beginning Shavasana, feet roll out, hands turn towards the sky. Wriggle the neck and the shoulders, loosen the jaw, soften the palate, the lips. A little bit of movement, maybe taking the tongue over, just getting a little bit looser. Nice. And keep the jaw soft as you sit down. Let yourself sink into the mat. Start to breathe a little deeper, gradually building. Fingers and toes stretch. Begin to let those wrists and ankles move gently, connecting the whole of the body back. Stretch, whatever feels good, whatever feels natural, whatever feels needed. And we'll slide the heels along the floor, bring the feet back in towards our bums. And let the knees in, roll gently in towards the body as we take the hands into a gentle hug with the legs. Just wriggling from side to side, circling the knees, whatever you feels good, as long as it's soft and easy and peaceful. Take a deeper breath and begin to roll onto our right side. And the knees go down, turn the chest in. Take a breath at the bottom and then use your hands as you exhale to glide back smoothly from the floor into a sitting posture. Sit tall. Last little wriggles. Hands in towards the heart. Closing the eyes, we'll take a breath in. Slowly begin to exhale as we let the chin drop, drawing the belly to the spine. Sealing our practice. Gratitude for our breath. Inhaling, taking the spine back up, lifting the head, opening the eyes. Namaste. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. Hope you had fun. See you on the mat soon.